All right, hello. Welcome to the Friday night quilting pajama party. Um, I'm Lynn Christensen with Emerald Falls Quilts, and this is my very first live, so please be kind. There's probably going to be a few little bumps along the way, but I think we are doing okay so far. We've got both cameras on, and we've got new little microphone that I'm testing out. So you'll have to let me know how that sounds. And I'm not in my pajamas yet because my plan was to wear one of my little cute onesies that I used to have from when I was an elementary librarian, but it was so hot. Like I was sweating. So I decided to just stay in my t-shirt and shorts, which are still comfy and cozy for me. And oh, hi, Linda. Sorry, I'm clicking things and they're going a little weird. Okay. I didn't mean to post that wide for everybody. Hi, Linda. Lois Ann, hello from Virginia. And Linda's in Minnesota. Hi, Linda. I know Linda. Linda's in one of my in my Wanderlust Quilt Society group. Hi, Lois Ann. I'm glad you're here. This is a brand new thing, so there may not be a ton of us, but that's okay. We're going to have some fun sewing. And I love seeing your comments. Now, I do have to say that I am not wearing my glasses because I'm being a little bit vain. So if I look like I'm squinting, it's because I'm trying to read the comments. That's what's happening. But I'm saying a lot too. So anyway, let's get started. So what I'm going to be working on tonight is my Irish quilt. I'm going to be finishing it up as much as I can in the time that we're together tonight. And then I'll work on it some more probably tomorrow because I need to get it finished this week. So my Irish quilt is a row quilt. And so far I have made all of the rows and I just need to sew the sashing strips in between. So I have my sashing strips here. This is one of the rows for it. And the others are back here. They're in order. So I'll show them as I start to work on them, but then I'm going to sew that one too. These little sheep, aren't they cute? Anyway, so we're going to sew some sashing strips. And you can tell me in the comments what you're working on. Say hello. And let me know where you're from if you haven't introduced yourself yet. And so I have my sashing strip folded in half. So here's my little tip when I am working on adding long strips to something that is pieced like this, because this is pieced and it could be a little bit stretchy. And so my second camera is not going to show everything. I don't usually show my sewing machine when I am doing my YouTube videos because sometimes I feel like they're a little long and not everybody wants to see just a sewing machine at work. But this is Gladys. She's named Gladys. So that's what her name says on the camera is Gladys. And I'm going to add this strip. Working on a pint of rainbow sherbet. You know, that sounds delicious. Sherbet is my favorite type of frozen treat. Yeah, love sherbet. Rainbow's the best. You get all the good flavors. Let's see, sorting through pieces of fabrics that were donated to the guild. Ooh, trying them out for collage quilting. Yeah, scraps are the best for collage quilting, especially if you get them donated, because then you get to make pretty collage quilts and you didn't have to spend a lot of money. All right, so here's one of my little tips. I have folded my sashing strip in half, and this is the center of my pieced strip. So I'm going to put the middle there. They're going to line up. And then I'm going to pin at this end. Hello, we have so many new people joining us. We're a small but mighty group in this very first live. I'm so glad you're here. Introduce yourself. Tell me what you're working on. We have some people working on their rainbow sherbet, some people sorting scraps, starching fabric for your next project. Yes. Starching is one of my #1 tips for working with fabrics. I don't enjoy doing it, but I regret every time I don't, because I work with a lot of little pieces, like you can see these little guys. All right, so I pinned in the center and then I pinned the end, and now I kind of have pulled it nice and straight, and I'm pinning along the top. Now, I am one of those lazy quilters that does not pin everything, but when it comes to adding sashing strips or long strips to something, then I will pull out my pins. If you're a lazy quilter like me, go lazy quilters. But pinning is really important. Can you hear that little jingle jangle as I'm pulling my pins out of my teapot? Do you want to see my teapot? So my cat likes to eat. I'm surprised she's not here. The minute she hears me get on a call, she starts showing up and climbing all over me. But my cat likes to eat the pins out of my pin cushion, and she would pull them out and then drop them everywhere. So I have to hide my pin cushion from her. So my daughter had gotten me this teapot at like a resale shop, and I stuffed a little pin cushion in the top. It's one of those little purple tomato pin cushions. And when I'm not using it, I just close it up. And then she can't get to my pins when I'm not in here. And then I also use this little part. This is where I throw my scraps as I'm quilting. So there is a tutorial for this, I believe, on YouTube. It was done a while ago. You might have to hunt for it. Yes, it's a very pretty teapot. My daughter is very, very into vintagey things, and she went thrifting, and she was like, "Ooh, do you want me to get you anything?" And I was like, "Sure, get me a teapot." And this is what she brought back. So yeah, there it is with a little pin cushion on top. But that's why you hear clinking when I'm grabbing pins. Let's see, any other questions? Starching. I'm nodding as if you can see me. Yeah. I know. It's a little different for me to not be able to see the people I'm talking to. When I was an elementary librarian, I had to teach during COVID to elementary children. But because I was a librarian, I didn't have a lot of face-to-face time with them. I had to do a lot of recordings. And that's when I got into the whole recording video thing. And I would record like I was talking to the kids all the time, but it never quite felt the same because I didn't have their little faces that I could kind of read their reactions and know if I needed to pivot what I was saying. Because, you know, the attention span of a 5-year-old, you've got to watch their reactions. But the nice thing about the recordings was I didn't get interrupted all the time. Like I could finish a story without, you know, one of those little cuties raising their hand and telling me their grandmother's favorite color is purple. Yeah, so the little teapot idea, it's really easy. And you can even, like I just happen to have that little purple pin cushion that fit perfectly. But if you don't have a pin cushion that fits, you could hot glue one in, or you could just, you know, get a whole bunch of batting or scraps and make your own little pin cushion and kind of glue it into the top. All right, so I have pinned all along here, and I've done some practice so that hopefully the sewing machine's not too loud. We'll see, but Yeah, teaching kindergarten and first grade via recording. Yeah, the live meetings were fun. It was always funny watching the little kids on those live meetings. The one nice thing was, though, is you could mute them if they were interrupting too much, and you couldn't do that in class. All right, anybody else working on anything tonight? Any hand stitching going on? I usually do hand stitching during this type of event because the sewing machine can be a little bit loud. What questions do y'all have? What are y'all working on that maybe you need some help with? Or if you're a seasoned quilter, what is your biggest tip that you could give to somebody who is not just starting out, but is maybe like a confident beginner that maybe there's something they've never thought of or known? Okay, good. It's not overwhelmingly loud. Good. I'll keep going. Let me know if you can't hear me, but hopefully my microphone is closer to my face and picking up all my chitter chatter. This is a fun test for me because I am not the kind of person that just talks and talks and talks. If you ever meet me in person and if we are in a big group, I am the person kind of sitting off to the side and just watching everybody and enjoying everybody's conversations. I am not the person that is doing all the talking or the life of the party. I'm the quiet one in the corner. Once you get to know me, though, I'm a little silly. It's probably where that elementary came from, working with those little kids. Now, one thing that I did is my strip that is pieced was just a little bit bigger than the strip that is my sashing strip. So I always put my bigger piece on the bottom. And if you just remember Bob, the bigger on the bottom. So the bottom in your sewing machine tends to feed a little more quickly. So if you put the bigger piece on the bottom, then usually it kind of starts to even it out because the bottom piece gets pulled a little more quickly. But let's see. I don't think I've missed anybody's comments, but if you're just joining us, please feel free to post in the comments, say hello, tell me where you're from. This is my very first live, so I am learning. I'm also learning what is interesting to you. I don't know if listening to me talk for an hour is really that fun, but I wanted to build a little bit of different community, give us a chance to hang out with each other a little bit. I feel like I email my newsletter people all the time, and I wanted them to be able to see me and see me in person as much as I could. Tell me what you're working on. And if you're not sewing right now and you're just working on, I don't know, making dinner, because I know on the West Coast it's only like 6 o'clock, right? I am in Cary, North Carolina, so right outside of Raleigh. So I'm one of those lucky people that when QuiltCon is in Raleigh, I don't have to go very far. It's a very quaint little town in the suburbs. We moved here about 10 years ago. I am originally from Texas. I am originally from the Houston area. I grew up in a small town called Waller, Texas. And it is just as small as it sounds, Waller, Texas. But I did love growing up there. I loved growing up out in the country in Texas. But I do love being in North Carolina. One difference here is that we have seasons in North Carolina. I didn't know fall was a real season because in Texas, you just go from really hot and muggy to slightly warm and muggy. All right, so we almost have this strip done. And I'm going to grab my little leader ender piece. Have any of you ever used a leader and ender piece? I've lost my scissors. There they are. How is your week going? It's Friday night. You're here with me on this doing your thing on a Friday night. How was your week? Anybody have anything great happen this week that you want to feel free to share in the comments? Say, hey, I had this great thing happen to me this week. Hello from Wisconsin. Finished a bunting project. Ooh, that sounds fun. Well, welcome. I'm glad you're here. Our win this week was that it finally rained this morning. Did not rain as much as we needed, but it rained. And that was kind of nice. We did not have to run the sprinklers today. We are trying very hard to keep one little tiny patch of garden alive. We are okay with the grass dying, but we just have this one little patch of garden we're trying to keep alive. What kind of bunting did you make? Ooh, holiday? Special colors? Those are great questions. I need to work on my interviewing skills. I just saw a cute bunting pattern in a book that I was looking through earlier. And it was for like a baby shower. It was really cute. If you, where are my people that prefer making the smaller projects? Do I have a lot of y'all here? Versus making the full-size quilts? I make probably about 2 or 3 full-sized quilts, but my main thing is making the little projects. I like being able to finish things really quickly. Book club. Adults reading children's literature. We are mostly teachers and librarians. I love that, a book club reading children's literature. My local bookstore has a young adult book club where they read, it's adults reading young adult. It's called Young at Heart, and they read young adult books. And it has always been my goal to join that book club, but I never seem to make it there because I stay too much in my bubble. That's what my husband would say. Aw, another win was Wanderlust Quilt Society this week with me. Yay! We did have our Wanderlust Quilt Society meeting this week. I love meeting with my Wanderlust people. Let's see, we're going to add, this is the top, so I have to do a strip at the top and at the bottom of it. And then I can add the sheep. Ask me some questions. I should have had questions prepared. Now I know for next time. Have questions prepared ahead of time to get to know your people. Let's see. Yes, this is cherry wood fabric. I love using cherry wood for my Wanderlust Quilt Society quilts. I folded that one twice, and now I don't know where the middle is. And one nice thing is there's no right or wrong side. So I don't accidentally sew the wrong sides together when I'm not paying super attention. How do I add a photo? I don't know if YouTube lets you add photos. I think it only allows comments. It's a birthday one. Aw. If anybody knows if you can add photos, share in the comments, but I don't know if YouTube allows photos. They may only allow just typing. It's a birthday one with photo. Aw. With photos from birth to 10. Aw. Oh, that's so cute. See, my kids are grown. I don't get to do these cute things for them anymore. Share your cute things that you're doing for grandchildren or your children or nieces or nephews. My kids are adults, and I don't know if they are. There's no grandchildren yet in my future, which is fine. But I do miss making the cute things, like my daughter's little dresses and, costumes for Halloween, things for their birthdays. Although I do still make them stuff sometimes. I made my daughter a collage quilt, but it hangs here in my house because I use it for my trunk shows, so she doesn't have it yet. I love to hear how people started quilting. Ooh. If anybody wants to share how they started quilting. So I started quilting, how many years ago? 2009? 2009, I think. And basically, I have been sewing my whole life. My grandmother, my great-grandmother, my mother, all three taught me different aspects of sewing and colors and patterns. And like most people, I started by sewing clothes for my dolls and my Barbies, and then making clothes for myself. My great-great-grandmother, Calla, she made lots of quilts, and she was around when I was younger, but I didn't live close to her. And my great-grandmother, my mama, who spent the most time with me, she made a couple of quilts, but she would do the embroidery ones that you then, framed with the quilt squares and all that kind of stuff. But she never taught me. So I started reading these books called Elm Creek Quilts. Has anybody read that series? It was a long time ago, but it's still around. You can still find it. There's like 20 books in the series now. But when I read those books, I was like, oh my gosh, I really, really want to learn how to quilt. And my grandmother got me a book, and it still just made no sense to me with all the terminology. So then I was working at an elementary school as a librarian, and one of the first grade teachers was a quilter. And when I found out that she was a quilter, I asked her and begged her to please teach me how to quilt. And so she did. She took me to our local quilt shop and showed me what quilting cotton is, because I didn't know any different. And she would teach me how to make blocks. My first quilt was almost like a version of courthouse steps. And she would make copies in the copy room after school. If you've ever been a teacher, you know that you spend a lot of time in the copy room. And while she made copies, I would sit there with my sewing machine, and she would guide me through the steps of making my quilt. So that's how I learned how to quilt. Anybody else is welcome to share their story, or maybe what you love the most about quilting. I've read most of them. Most of the Elm Creek Quilts books. Yeah, I really think there's like 20 of them now. And then she did something a little weird, because she wrote one, I think it was called The Wedding Dress, that was supposed to be like the last one. And it was kind of weird. It was like a back and forth time thing, and it was supposed to tie everything up. And then she wrote a new one with like the children all grown up, and all this stuff. And it was almost like that wedding dress book didn't exist because they never really referred back to it again. So I don't know, but it still was fascinating. And she talks a lot about quilts. I actually do have over on my bookshelf one of her like quilting books, like how to make some of the quilts that she talks about. One of the things I thought was the most fascinating was how the different blocks had different meanings. So I loved that idea that like flying geese, when I looked it up recently, flying geese meant like a return to home. And it was kind of just fascinating that these blocks had these meanings and the tradition that was handed down in the families with the templates. And I don't know, I just loved everything about it. Am I still in touch with her? Oh, with Miss Fraser? Yes and no. We are Facebook friends. And in fact, she posted a quilt that she's putting in the local quilt show in Texas. And I responded to her post of, hey, you're the reason I'm a quilter now. And the reason I even have this little business. It's all because of you and you're amazing. Good luck with the show. So we're Facebook friends, but like, I'm not really still in touch with her. I live kind of far away. Well, hello. We have some new people. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello. Please feel free to tell us where you're from. Tell us what you're working on. Welcome to the Friday night pajama party. We're just being cozy, and I am just talking nonstop while I'm working on my Irish quilt. We have some people that are still having their dinner or eating their ice cream. We have some people working on their current projects. What else do you guys have for me? Elm Creek, yes. Wait, she wrote another one? Oh, wait, she wrote The Patchwork Players. In April and May, yeah. Yeah, her fans were, I'm sure her fans were asking her to continue the series. Okay, so I read, what would I read? It wasn't The Patchwork Players, so I need to read that one. I need to look it up. Now that I'm not in the library world, I don't see all of the like new releases and, you know, all the things that are coming out now. I feel like I'm missing out. My daughter and her friend are going to a quilt show in Houston this weekend. Oh, cool. Have any of y'all ever been to Quilt Festival in Houston? That's the big quilt show. I used to go when I lived near Houston. My mom and I would go. And then a couple of years ago, we went together. I flew down there and we stayed at one of the hotels nearby and had a nice little time together. I really enjoy quilt shows. It's very inspiring to see all the beautiful things that people are making. Oh my goodness. Cindy, I'm going to have to look up that Patchwork Players. Now I'm like, ooh, I have a new book I have to read. Poor Jennifer. She probably was tired of writing about those characters for a while. She just wants to be like, they lived happily ever after. She lives in Austin. Oh, I love Austin. So pretty there. Yeah, festival is overwhelming. It's the first time I went, I just planned to just do it for a day. And it's a lot to do in a day. Like you need to actually, I think 2, because like you want one day to just kind of chill and look at all the beautiful quilts, and then one day for the vendor area. But you do have to be a little careful in the vendor area. Set a budget for yourself because you'll spend a lot of money. Usually what I'll do is I'll look at things And then if I'm still thinking about it later, then I'll go back and buy it. I try not to buy things that are spur of the moment. I also try when I'm at a show to only buy things that I can't get from my local shop. So if it's something that's really unique and different, oh, well, thank you so much for coming. Good night. Have some good sleep. Yeah, so if it's something I can't get at my local shop, then I'll buy it. I got the last quilt show I went to, I was at the Fiber Fabric Craft Festival in Chicago, which wasn't just quilting, which made it even more overwhelming because I also do cross stitch and needlepoint, and they had all of that there. I'm just glad I'm not a knitter or a crocheter yet because I really would have been in trouble. But I got templates to like for quilting, which was, you know, something different and unique. So I try to now either look for the unique things, or if it's a pattern or a kit, I don't buy it immediately. I have to go back and get it. The patch, it's the 24th in the series. Oh my goodness. I enjoy it. Like, I need somebody. I don't think it's going to be me because I don't know if I have the skills for it, but I need somebody to create an Elm Creek quilt. Like, I know there's retreats, but I loved how it was like a week-long summer camp for quilters. And you could like take all these different classes. I guess it was kind of like a festival, but it was in that historic house. Does something like that exist? Somebody find and tell me, does an Elm Creek Quilts exist in real life? She lives in Wisconsin. Met her many times. All 24, but ooh. You know, I don't think I have all my books anymore. I think I ended up giving a lot of them away when we moved because I couldn't move my entire library. This house is smaller than my previous house. So, you know, sometimes when you downsize, you don't get to keep all your things. But that's cool. I love having books signed by authors. It's so much fun. I don't think they're always used to feeling like celebrities. And then there's all these people all of a sudden being like, sign my thing, sign my thing. When I was a librarian at like library conferences, they would almost have to hide from us because we would like, you know, treat them like rock stars. They would get mobbed to sign things or to talk to people. And they're so used to just wandering around living their daily life. Things similar to that. Okay. Tell me about this retreat house. Okay. Sometimes with focus on classes, sometimes individual quilting time. Okay. So there's something similar. All right. Yeah, if you've read the Elm Creek Quilts books, like they would have, so it was basically a week, and people showed up on Monday and left on Friday. I don't know. I don't remember the exact details, but they would even have like a little opening ceremony. And then you could take classes from, I think there were like 5 different teachers because there were 5 main characters, or however many characters there were. There were that many teachers. And you could take different classes, and you got to stroll around this beautiful manor house and enjoy the gardens. And then you had evening activities, and then they would have like a little closing ceremony. So it really was like a summer camp for adults that were quilting. I need something like that. I mean, retreats are fun, but I need something like that. I guess, you know, festivals and retreats are the same thing. You're still getting to take classes. When I did a couple of like sewing retreats, we just brought our own projects. And then we would like, I don't know, each make dinner one night or something. It's more fun though if people feed you. I don't know if I always want to cook on my vacation. All right, so I have that part done. Now I'm going to add the sheep. So here's the little sheep. We're going to add them in. And I'm going to show you my favorite row. Let's see. So there's also a row with some shamrocks. And then there is a row with little rainbows and a pot of gold. Then, of course, there's a row of Guinness. But this is my favorite one. Look at the leprechauns. They make me smile every time I look at them. So that's the leprechauns. Then there is the Celtic cross. So right now I'm just working on putting the sashing between each row and putting the whole top together. So it's part of my Wanderlust Quilt Society Irish adventure. And this is what we've been working on since January. And now next month, they're going to put it all together. So I'm putting it together beforehand to show them what it's going to look like. Thank you. It's a fun quilt. It's a fun quilt. It's one of those quilts that you just kind of smile the entire time you're making it. So this quilt will be so I'm taking my Wanderlust Quilt Society programs and turning them into self-guided adventures so that if anybody now wants to make the quilts, they're going to be available again for people to make them. All right. Is this a pattern? So yes, it's not really a pattern. It's part of the Irish Adventure program. So the Wanderlust Quilt Society is a block of the month program that incorporates a place as we make the quilt. So we are on the Irish Adventure this year, and we're making this Ireland quilt. We have done Yellowstone, we've done Cozumel, and we've done the Rhine River. Also, I keep hitting that camera because I talk with my hands and I'm not used to that being there. Sorry. And they've all run live as block of the month programs with Zoom calls and all of this extra stuff going on with them. But they are going to be next week, except for Ireland. Ireland will be available in July, but they will be available as self-guided adventures. So you can purchase the program, which includes book recommendations. They have little travel logs that tell you about the place. So like the sheep block also comes with all this fun information about sheep and little Google Earth things, so you can feel like you've traveled and actually visited Ireland while you're making the quilt. And I also include some recipes or crafts that go along with each block. And they'll be available as self-guided adventures next week. And I'm really excited about that because I didn't like that if you didn't join the adventure the first time, you didn't get to make it. So yeah. And then I have some people, they join and they don't make the whole quilt. They only make a couple of the blocks that they like, which is perfectly fine with me. They can make whatever brings them joy. Oh, yes, it is so much fun. And we, some of them even have Spotify playlists now. The Ireland one does, the Cozumel one does. So you can enjoy beachy vibes while you are, sewing along. I think the Cozumel one includes tropical drinks, so you can make a tropical beverage while you make your Cozumel quilt. Yeah, it is a lot of fun. It's the teacher in me and the librarian in me loves creating experiences and events. So this was my way of creating events around my quilts because these quilts were big and had a lot of different pieces and a lot of different blocks. And if they had been patterns, they would have been more like books. Especially the Rhine River one, it has 17 different blocks in it. So anyway, I need to make sure I'm doing that the right way. Yes, okay. I didn't want to sew this to the bottom of the sheep. thanks, Linda. I try really hard to be good at explaining things. Yes, it is beginner friendly and advanced friendly. All right, so how are y'all doing? I need some more questions, more things to talk about. I want to hear a little more about what you're working on. Ooh, so I recently did a podcast, and they asked these questions, and one of them kind of stumped me, even though I knew it was coming. And it was, what is your favorite notion? And so I kind of choked and couldn't think of what my favorite notion was. And I just said a rotary cutter because I do love my rotary cutter. Bye, Cindy. Have a good evening. Because they're actually a fairly new invention. Like, rotary cutters have not been around for a really long time. So that's what I said, but I don't know. Like, I have so many notions that I really love to use. And I'm curious, like, if somebody was like, what's your favorite notion? Like, what is the first thing that pops into your head? Am I going to be at Road to Virginia? I am not. Road to Virginia is in June, I believe. I believe it's next week. And I'm not going to be there because I am doing online classes with the Mancuso's virtual summer schoolhouse during most of the days for Road to Virginia. And then I have a Wanderlust book club meeting with my Wanderlust group on one of the days. So I'm a little bit sad because it's really close. Like, Virginia's only about 3 hours from where I am. So I need to put it on my calendar for next year so I don't I don't double book myself. But yeah, no, I will be teaching some online live classes with Mancuso with their virtual summer schoolhouse. And then I have some live book club Zooms with my Wanderlust group. So I already had commitments, but they keep sending me emails telling me about all the amazing teachers and all the vendor stuff. So I don't know. Anybody else going to that one? Anybody else on the East Coast? I think most people have said they're more in the middle. Anybody been to a really good quilt show this year that I need to know about? I'm trying to go to more quilt shows. I taught at the Fiber Fabric Craft Festival, which was their very first year to have it. And that was a lot of fun. Like I said, it was more than just quilting. So it was really cool to see all the different, what's new in embroidery, what's new in knitting. Even though I don't knit, I still love yarn. We went to, for my birthday in May, we went to an alpaca farm. And I got to feed and pet the alpacas. They were so soft and lovely. But at the end, they have a little gift shop, and my husband was like, so do you want some yarn? Because he knows, I love my craft supplies. And I was like, I would love some yarn, but I don't crochet enough. And I don't knit. I've only tried knitting once. So I didn't want to just buy this beautiful, expensive yarn to just sit on my shelf. So I got socks. So I can just, somebody else knitted the socks and I can wear those instead. Went to QuiltCon but was disappointed. I was at QuiltCon. I don't really go just because of QuiltCon. I go because that's where all my friends are. Plus, it was local. But yeah, if you're not a modern quilter, there wasn't a whole lot there. I did volunteer though to be like a white glove person at QuiltCon, and that was fun because I got to be the person that like touches the quilts and flips them. So it was kind of cool to get to be one of the person touching the quilts. The Shenandoah Quilt Show. Ooh, okay. All right, I'll have to look into that one. Berryville, Virginia. That sounds like fun. Anybody else have a quilt show they went to this year that was amazing? Yeah, white gloving's fun. If you ever get a chance to volunteer at a quilt show and be a white glove person, it's fun. Part of the fun too is not just that you get to touch the quilts. It's just being around the excitement and energy of people when they're viewing the quilts because they're so appreciative and they're so excited. And you get to talk about the quilts and tell people some of their inspirations because you get to meet some of the makers. And I loved that vibe. I loved seeing people just ooh and ah and get excited and enjoy seeing what other people had made. Like, it's always lovely when people appreciate other people's art. All right, how are y'all doing? I have never talked this much nonstop in my life. But this is fun. Thank y'all for keeping the comments going. That helps give me something to like think about and focus on and answer. And I appreciate y'all for joining me in my very first little live call. Or not call, I guess. YouTube Live. Joining me in my very first Rambly Live. If you normally watch people do live quilting videos, like what do they do that you really enjoy? I need some ideas. Doing great. Oh, thanks. How weird would it be if I wasn't talking? Yeah, we're just gonna sit here in silence, y'all. Just watch me sew while I sit here in silence. That's normally what I do. Although sometimes I have a podcast going or an audiobook. But I am definitely one of those people that is okay with silence. My husband is not. He has to have like the TV or something on. I cannot always have noise. That's why I was a librarian and he's a real estate agent. Since you can't. Right? Since I can't see you nodding and laughing along with me, I'm just going to nod and laugh to myself. That's how it feels. I feel a little bit like I'm talking to myself, to like little ghost people. People that only I can see and hear in my head. Oh my goodness. Oodles of Quilters on YouTube and love seeing different techniques and ideas. Yeah. I love seeing all the different ways people make and put things together. It's always fun. Because everybody has their own different little processes, and I'm always learning new things. Good. I'm so glad my YouTube videos are helpful. They are much more edited than this, that's for sure. And you hardly ever see my face. All you see are my hands. My husband's like, ooh, I saw your video pop up. I recognized your hands. Oh yeah, colors are fun to. There's a class at my local quilt shop that I'm thinking of taking the next time they offer it, but the teacher uses that color box that has all the color ideas, and then she talks about color. And color is the one thing that my great grandmother, my mama, spent a lot of time with me on. She did all the crafts, but her main craft was painting. And he put that ring on your finger. Yeah, that's true. He recognizes the ring. Anyway, so she's the one that taught me about like the color wheel and coordinating and contrasting and all those things. But I feel like there's like more that I could learn. So I'm considering that class that uses the color box because I'm curious how that box helps with finding color. One of my favorite things to do when I used to work at my local quilt shop was we would do on Fridays, the staff would kind of rotate getting to create a staff bundle. And we would have to pick 6 fat quarters or 6 fabrics that weren't selling as well or had been part of a collection and were now just kind of lingering, and put 6 of them together to create a bundle. And then we got to name it. And oh man, I loved doing that. I loved trying to find 6 fabrics to like work together that hadn't originally been put together, and then coming up with a fun name. All right, let's iron this one down, and then we'll see how the sheep look with the Irish chain. So how are y'all doing? Is anybody making progress on what they're working on? Have we finished the ice cream yet, or the sherbet? I might have to go get some ice cream after this. It's a little warm up here, especially with this iron next to me. I may have to bring out the big ironing board for this. I usually work with very small projects. And so normally I just have this little, there's my iron there, but I have this little tray table with my wool mat, and that's my ironing station. But I may have to pull out the big ironing board because this guy's going to get big and long. All right, look, there we go. There's the chains with the little sheep. They're very cute. They make me smile. Let's see. I'm all sorted. Linda is all sorted. She's got everything figured out for her possibilities for her collage. Yay! And will I quilt this one myself? No, I will not. I do not quilt anything that is bigger than 36 inches because I have not figured out how to not end up being really frustrated with the quilting process. There are some amazing teachers out there, though, that will show people how to do it. But I have really great long armors at my local quilt shop. So I will take anything bigger than 36 inches to them and pick out a really cute pantograph. And I let them do it. And mostly it's because I hate basting. Hate basting. And I'm getting too old to crawl around on the floor. The table method does not work well for me. I don't know why. I'm probably doing it wrong. And so, yeah, I will have this one quilted by my local quilters because they're fabulous and they can roll it up in their machine. But I will quilt things that are smaller, like most of those behind me I quilted because they're easy to, through the machine like this. But I mostly quilt just straight lines, grids, cross hatches. Yeah. Yes, I feel like long arming and quilting are a separate skill from piecing, and I am definitely a piecer. That is what I love. So I let the other people who love the quilting part do the quilting part for me. I inherited that from my grandmother Sparkman because I inherited 9 of her quilt tops and just the tops because apparently she didn't like the quilting part either. And so she passed them down. My grandmother had them for years and years and years. Unfortunately, they were left in a cardboard box in a storage shed. It flooded, so they got wet. So I inherited some kind of slightly mildewy quilt tops, but I've been slowly getting them cleaned up and fixed up and quilted. Hello, welcome from Wisconsin. Ooh, we have other people from Wisconsin too. How's it going in Wisconsin right now? Things are great in North Carolina. It rained today. All right, well, let's see. Oh, we're getting near the end. This was so much fun. So much fun talking to you guys and getting to know some of you. So I'm going to, because I did talk about the Wanderlust Quilt Society that will open next week, and some of you had asked about that, I'm going to share the wait list form for that. So you can join this wait list. If you're already on my newsletter, you don't really have to join this wait list because you'll get all the information in next Tuesday's Delightful Dispatch. But if you're not on my newsletter and you want to know when these self-guided Wanderlust adventures open, or you want to know when the next block of the month opens, the next live one, that is the link to the wait list. And ooh, a big marathon. Wait, grandma is going to run in a marathon? I need to know more. I'm not a runner, and I'm fascinated by people who are. And if you just want to join my newsletter, oh, that's the name of it. Okay, grandmother. Oh, I was impressed with grandma running a marathon. I mean, I'm sure lots of grandmas run marathons, but still. It's called Grandma's Marathon. Nice. I like that. All right. And then here is just my general newsletter if you want to keep up to date with me. I don't know if I'm going to be doing these every Friday. It's not always easy to schedule something every week, but this was a lot of fun. So I will definitely be doing it again. Friday night seems like a lot of fun. It's fun having a little pajama party together, eating our snacks and drinking our evening beverages, making our things. And you can always like and subscribe because then you get notified, I think, when these lives happen. But I've really enjoyed getting to know you all. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. And I will see you soon. I hope you all have a good night. Get some rest, drink your water, and I'll see you again. You are so welcome. Thank you for coming. See you soon. See you next time. Bye, guys. Good night.